friends, Katie here. Welcome back to my channel, Life Between Words. Today I have a book haul for you. I have mixed feelings about book hauls, but I know that people love them and I love to watch them, so there you go. The first book I have to show you is called The Awkward Phase by Claire Linick and also Tyler Gillespie. And Claire Linick is the sister of one of my very best friends from college. She's a comedian down in Chicago, and she and her husband have a very, very funny and very, very popular Twitter account called They Fought About. So check it out. I'll link it down below because she is seriously really, really funny. This is a collection of stories that she compiled because she also has a blog called The Awkward Phase. So anyway, this is a collection of stories that she compiled of people talking about their awkward years as children. And I've sort of flipped through it and read one or two, and they're really funny, and I want to keep going with it. I just haven't found the time yet, but I will do it soon. Then I also have a package from Edie Fairfall, who is a booktuber from the channel The Booktube Couple. She is an author, and her second book is coming out, I think, in July, and she very kindly offered to send me the first book, so I'm really looking forward to reading it. And I wanted to open the package because it's just such a sweet package. It's got this cute little butterfly stamp, and she wrapped this really pretty blue twine around it. So let's open it up. This is hard to open. This is the first book, called Sleeping Tom. The second book is called Waking Gabriel. This is just a little slip that she included. And important to note, this first book is only 99 cents until the release of Waking Gabriel, which is coming, yeah, I think it's coming in July. I will correct myself in the description box if I'm wrong. But yes, 99 cents for Sleeping Tom. This is a physical copy of it, and I'm really excited and so grateful that she sent this to me. And she sent me a sweet little note too. She has very pretty handwriting. All right. The next are a pile of books that I got at the used bookstore. I had a ton of credits there because my husband and I dropped off a big old pile of books there a few months ago, and this month I decided to cash in that credit and get a bunch of books. So that's what I'm going to show you next. The first is a book called The Good Earth by Pearl S. Buck. This won the Pulitzer Prize. I probably should have done a little research and found out when it won the Pulitzer Prize, but I didn't, so I'm sorry to say I can't tell you, but if you are at all interested, you can look it up yourself. But it was written by an American, but it takes place in China, and it's about a Chinese family. My family gets together a lot, and one time when we got together, my aunt and my grandfather were reminiscing about when my mom and her sisters and her brother were all very little, and they were on a long road trip, and their mother, my grandmother, who now has Alzheimer's, read The Good Earth out loud. And at first the kids weren't at all interested in listening to it, but by the end, because my grandmother is such a good storyteller, and also because this is such a good story, they were enthralled. And it made me so interested to pick it up, so when I saw it at the used bookstore, I grabbed myself a copy. The next is another book that I've been wanting to read forever. A lot of people list it as their favorite book, and especially a lot of men list it as their favorite book. I'm not exactly sure why, but I guess I'll see when I read it. And that is East of Eden by John Steinbeck. This novel follows the fates of two families in California, I think. Yes? All I've ever read by John Steinbeck is Of Mice and Men, which is, you know, a really small book, and this one is really big, but I'm very excited to read it, and I love this edition of it. Brand new, this is very expensive, and so I was very, very pleased to find it at the used bookstore, and it looks brand new. It's in such great shape. Actually, all the books that I found at the used bookstore were in perfect condition, so yeah. Another book that I saw at the used bookstore was How the Light Gets In by Louise Penny. This is the 6th or 7th book in Louise Penny's mystery series, Armand Gamache. And what's a little silly about this is I actually haven't read any of Louise Penny's books. I went to the used bookstore hoping to get the first one, but they didn't have it. But they did have this 6th or 7th one, and it also is in perfect condition. And so I got it, having read none of the others. But I've heard nothing but really fabulous things about this mystery series, and so I'm very excited to read it. But I can't read it until I get the first couple books. So I probably won't get to this one for a while, but I'm very happy that I have it. The next book I found was Winter Solstice by Rosamund Pilcher. Now, I haven't read anything by Rosamund Pilcher, But I think it might have been Kate Howe, who's another booktuber that you should all check out if you haven't. I love her. She's fast becoming one of my very good friends on BookTube. But anyway, she, I'm pretty sure, is the one who recommended Rosamund Pilcher to me. And so when I went to the used bookstore, I just decided to find what they had of hers, and they had this, and it was in good shape, so I picked it up. So this book is about a single woman named Elfrida Phipps, who moves from London to somewhere in the north of Scotland, Corriedale, and I really don't know a whole lot more than that, and I kind of don't want to know. I've heard she's a great storyteller, and I probably will pick this up sometime in the winter because it's called Winter Solstice, and I think it takes place around the Christmas season, so maybe I'll pick it up in December. I also found a hardback copy of Tara Road by Maeve Binchy at the used bookstore. I haven't read any Maeve Binchy, but I've heard wonderful things. The premise of this book sounds a little bit to me like, what was that movie? Candace Cameron goes to England and Kate Winslet goes to California, and they like house swap. So yeah, it's about two women who exchange houses for a summer. So yeah, the premise sounds very much like that movie that I can't remember the name of right now. You can remind me in the comments, or you don't have to either. I can probably look it up on IMDb if I'm feeling ambitious after I film. The next set of books I got off of Amazon, mostly the Amazon Marketplace, you know, where you can get books for like $2 and you pay $3 shipping or whatever. So first I got The Winter's Curse by Marie Rutkoski. I've heard a lot of things about this book. I've heard it's sort of fantasy, but it feels almost sort of historical fiction, and that sounds right up my alley, and I've heard some good things, so I wanted to try it out. So I got it, and we'll see. This book is called Whistling Past the Graveyard by Susan Crandall. It's a road trip story about Eula, a black woman who's traveling with a white baby. One of the blurbs on the back says, fresh and funny, highly entertaining and perceptive, grittier than The Secret Life of Bees and The Help, a great read. So it sounds like something I'm just going to love because I love The Help and I love The Secret Life of Bees and I love road trip stories, so yes. The next book I got off of the Amazon Marketplace was 1000 White Women, The Journals of Mary Dodd, a novel by Jim Fergus. I was recommended this book by Julie from A Girl in a Book, who's also a booktuber who you should check out. Her channel is called A Girl in a Book, and I will link it down below. It's also a historical fiction, gets great reviews. It's a historical fiction based on true events, although I think the character of Mary Dodd might be a fictional character. So it's about a time when there was apparently a program to send white women off to marry Cheyenne warriors. I love good historical fiction, so I'm very excited to read this. Yeah, and I love that I got this recommendation from Julie because she's also one of my favorite people on BookTube. And then the last book that I wanted to show you that I got off of the Amazon Marketplace is a book that has a little bit of a backstory. So recently, I read through the book of Esther in the Bible. It's one of my favorite books. I think it's fascinating for so many different reasons. I think Esther is a great biblical character, and after reading the biblical story, I really became interested in maybe reading some retellings of the book of Esther. So I started to do some research about some retellings, and I was reminded that one of my good bookish friends named Olivia, she recently read a retelling of Esther, and I remembered that, and so I looked it up and found it on the Amazon Marketplace. It's just called Esther by Rebecca Canner. It just came out this past year, so it doesn't have a ton of reviews, but Olivia really liked it, and I trust her judgment, and the reviews it does have are great, and I read the first couple pages of it, and the writing is really good. I also found another retelling of Esther that's a little bit older that gets great reviews, but I got that one on my Kindle, so I'm really excited to read both of them and compare and figure out, you know, which retelling I like better. Okay, I don't know why this one is in this little pile, but this is called The Kitchen House by Kathleen Grissom. This is another historical fiction novel about a little girl named Lavinia who is an orphan and was sent from Ireland, ended up in Virginia, and found herself living on a plantation and is living and working with the slaves. I've heard nothing but really, really great things about this book, especially from the Modern Mrs. Darcy, who I might have mentioned on my channel before, but she has a blog called The Modern Mrs. Darcy. Her real name is Anne Bogle. She's amazing. I love her blog, and so I trust pretty much anything she recommends, and this is one of the books that she recommended. And I found this copy at Barnes & Noble in their bargain section for like $4 or something. And this copy is so cool, the print, and I don't know if you can see that, maybe I'll try and get close, but the print is brown, not black, and I just think that's so cool. Hi! So I got these two books from Book Depository. I don't usually order from them unless I'm really coveting their covers, because sometimes the UK covers are prettier than the American covers and I want them. The first book I got was Bill Bryson's The Road to Little Dribbling. I absolutely adore Bill Bryson. I've read just about every one of his books. I was really excited when this one came out. This is sort of a companion travel book to his book called, here, let me get it, I'll show it to you, Notes from a Small Island. Notes from a Small Island was written in 1995, and The Road to Little Dribbling was written in just this past year, 2015. So they were written 20 years apart. These are kind of his newer observations about life and travel in England, and I am so looking forward to reading this because I just think Bill Bryson is hilarious. He's one of the only authors I ever read where I laugh out loud when I'm reading to myself because I just think he's so funny, and his use of language is fantastic. Sometime I'll do an author overview of him because I love all of his books. They're a fabulous place to start if you've never read nonfiction. And I got the UK edition because I really like the UK cover a lot better than the US cover or American cover. And then last, but certainly not least, for Mother's Day my husband got me these lovely, lovely vintage classic editions of Jane Austen's books. 4 of them. I don't have Northanger Abbey or Mansfield Park, but I do have now Emma, Pride and Prej, Sense and Sense, and Persuasion, and I'm so happy to have these because I just think these are the most gorgeous covers, and my husband surely knows me, so this is what he got me for Mother's Day. Wow, I had a lot more books than I expected. I'm a little embarrassed. I don't usually get this many books, but this is what I've accumulated over the past few months. Yeah. Anyway, so thank you all for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this book haul. I enjoyed showing you all the books that I've accumulated, although I'm a little embarrassed about it. Like, comment, and subscribe below. Tell me what books sound interesting to you, or what you've read. Tell me what I should read first. I don't know, whatever comes into your head. I'd love to hear it. So that's all. I'll talk to you next time. Bye! I'm not even going to be able to get them all in the frame. Alright. There, I did it. Oh, they're going to fall. I don't want them to fall. This is awkward. This is awkward.